don't want his mother to see him this way.
Who do you think would win in a 1v1? Baby Gronk or Baby Dig? On his visit to LSU, Livy rizzed him up. He might be the new Riz King. Do you think Baby Gronk will lead LSU to a national championship? Livy is not happy about this. She might even get back together with the Drip King. Do you think Livy will stay with Baby Gronk or get back with the
Look how they massacred my boy.
Baby Gronk?
If you use the internet to any capacity, you've probably noticed that something isn't quite right. It could be the recycled trends, the thumbnails of family members' posting habits, the constant sensation that somebody is trying to sell you something. There are varying degrees of this sentiment, but I think we can all universally agree that there exists a downward trend. In this video, I will explain why things are the way that they are and propose a legitimate path forward. This topic is unfathomably deep and cannot be covered in a single video, so my plan is to lay the foundation for my argument and explore different aspects in future videos. With that said, you cannot criticize me for the many generalizations and oversights that I am about to make. We are at no shortage of internet video with the premise of internet bad now. And ironically, 9 out of 10 of those videos are rage bait, which make internet bad. Their perspectives seem to be still searching for answers while highlighting the symptoms, but only really exist to stir negativity, which means engagement. But as the great scholar 2 Chainz once said, I'm different because 1, the pace of my editing will not overstimulate you. 2, I'm going to maintain this monotone, low-energy persona. And 3, I'm very experienced in this field. If you're new, my name is Jarrod. I've never had a real job. I don't know if I qualify as a legacy YouTuber or not, but I've been working in music and media production my entire adult life. If you are already familiar with my antics, it's good to see you again. I literally have children now. And yes, that was plural.
Now there are 2 of them.
By now you've noticed that this is not my main channel. You may remember a little pivot I did 5 years ago. What even is this video? While you've been playing checkers, I've been playing 5-dimensional Candyland. And this is still all part of a long-term, mostly unaltered master plan. More on that later. And yes, there is new music. You may already feel passionate about this. If you don't, you do, and you just haven't realized it yet. Like I said before, we all know that something is, at the very least, amiss. Despite writing this to entertain internet users of all ages, I am a product of 1993, and this video should be most relatable to those of you who, in your childhood, remember experiencing the great tragedy of losing a Tamagotchi. Also 9/11. Everyone over the age of 30 remembers the earliest days of the social web, or Web 2.0. But it was the IPA drinkers, the RuneScape homies, and the Disney adults who pioneered Web 2.0. Not the actual technical infrastructure that sustained Web 2.0. That's a weird Gen X thing. But the cool stuff that eventually snowballed to what is now worth the GDP of the Dominican Republic. In 2005, your desktop looked like this. Your DMs looked like this. Spotify looked like this. And I looked like this. Sick. I actually looked like this. Now, spoiler alert, I wasn't very popular. My social skills were concerning. And the internet of 2005 was a dream come true. I had already been using computers since my dad put me on MS-DOS pre-Y2K, but at this point I was finding tons of new music, MySpace friends, that video of Smosh doing the Mortal Kombat theme, pictures of boobs. I could ramble about this era for a long time, and it was rough around the edges. But the key takeaway here is that all creative content was authentic, was rarely trying to sell you something, and made no artistic compromises for the sake of reach or engagement. The internet had a verifiable cool factor. So what happened? Is it possible that nostalgia has blinded us to a reality where there was just as much brain rot 20 years ago as there is now? In 2005, I was a 7th grade edgelord, aka the worst version of myself to have ever existed. The answer is no. And we can objectively trace everything back to 2 distinct factors. and they are engagement-driven algorithmic curation and corporate infiltration of digital spaces. You hoped it would be something more interesting than that, but no. We've known the causes for a long time, but when the effects are so profound, it's hard to accept something so obvious. You already know that algorithms and corporate interests are the root cause of basically everything that's bad online. It's very overdone at this point. The issue here is that so many people have failed to recognize how it actually got this way and what they actually need to do to fix it.
Who could have done this?
I won't be going into the specifics of exactly how these two factors change everything, because that is more effectively discussed in another video on my main channel. Here is an abridged version. We've had algorithmic curation since the 90s to help us find things, and it generally improved the user experience. But around 2010, Facebook decided to build algorithms that maximized engagement at all costs. The shift rippled across all platforms and created new erogenous zones, manipulating the success of any given post or upload. The original zones that creators needed to stimulate were things like relevance, originality, quality, not being bullshit. Now you could play with things like search engine optimization, paid boosting, data mining, astroturfing. I still make things for a living and I work with other career creators, and I can guarantee that nobody enjoys doing these things. It can be satisfying and rewarding when you do things right, but much like chugging a glass of water at 4 a.m., you'd be better off not having to do it in the first place. I'll admit that I experience a small dopamine rush when I click schedule to make a post go live at exactly the time that I have researched to be peak platform hours. But if users just saw everything chronologically, I could have saved all that time and energy for something more important, like terraforming my entire island. It became the new norm to prioritize algorithmic appeasement over creative merit. Instead of focusing on what they actually wanted to make, creators were forced to waste time and resources gaming the system. Once engagement-driven algorithmic curation became the standard, corporate interests took root. Every platform became its own respective monopoly with zero competition, and the rest is history.
Go watch the other video.
Quality video makers, musicians, game devs, and D20 artisans are increasingly difficult to find and burn out at a growing rate, because they're having to make artistic compromises at every single turn. And on top of that, they're not getting paid enough. Yes, the guy in the same boat as Mr. Beast is telling you that he doesn't get paid enough. Imagine trying to tell Bernie Sanders that Elon Musk represents your average American. A house that was worth $150,000 10 years ago is probably worth around $1 million now, but YouTube is still paying like 2 cents per ad. It's actually 2/5 of a cent. Direct funding platforms like Kickstarter, Patreon, and Bandcamp do genuinely fund careers for countless independent creators. And they seem like pro-artist institutions, but they are all monopolistic black holes that take way more than they need. These are their splits before taxes and fees. Not as bad as your standard 360 label contract, or not making any money at all, but is it fair? Think about your yearly income pre-tax and put one of these percentages on it. Is the service provided worth that much? Or would you be paying the troll toll because there are no better options? I can testify that a sizable chunk of my more successful peers have either switched careers, thought about quitting, or changed how they do their stuff completely because the grind just isn't worth it anymore. I personally stopped uploading in 2017 when I saw the writing on the walls. The people at the top put us on the council, but did not grant us the rank of master.
What?
Before I get too anti-establishment and embarrass myself, I should point out that we are all complicit. You can pat yourself on the back for ditching Facebook or supporting a band through concert attendance, but you're still addicted to Reddit, and you still indirectly funded the same guys who charged me $25 for a 16-ounce pour of PBR. You could blame My Chemical Romance for choosing venues that are owned by a ticketing monopoly, but are you at all bothered that all our venues are owned by one company? The solutions to internet bad are inconvenient and annoying, with rewards that would be delayed for years to come. But the cost of inaction is that, over time, your options will become less convenient, more annoying, and more expensive. If you don't change your habits now, you'll be withering away in the year 2035, wishing you could relive the internet of 2025. Regardless, the state of Florida will be underwater. So, how do we make the internet cool again? These are simplified icebergs in their own right that can each be explored another time. You want to improve your good stuff to bad stuff ratio, and you want the creators you like to succeed. Since the digital landscape moves faster than a tech reviewer on a residential street, we need to keep things flexible and focus on 3 overarching goals. Goal number 1 is to support creators directly. What made the internet cool? The good stuff. Who makes the good stuff? Makers of the good stuff. What is required to make the good stuff? Time, energy, stability, shelter, food, water. What do makers of the good stuff need to uphold these requirements? Really nice comments?
No, no, no.
A chunky bank account?
Yes!
People are often unaware that their favorite creators did not reach their full potential until they had the financial backing to take risks, take long breaks, and reinvest in their arsenal. I didn't do anything career sustaining until I crowdfunded my first album. When instant ramen is the only thing you can afford to sustain your life force in a 1-bedroom depression dungeon at the Elements Apartments of Chattanooga, Tennessee, there isn't much spare cash for hiring audio engineers, buying albums, ordering merch, monthly subscriptions, and everything in between are great ways to fund independent creators. But be mindful by how each medium enacts their troll toll. If only there were a platform that could give 100% of those profits to creators. It's totally sustainable as a business model, and whoever chooses to do it is probably a really cool guy. Goal number 2 is to reject algorithmic curation. No algorithm bound to the directive of engaging you as hard as possible will be consistently reliable at finding good stuff. Sometimes the algorithm is on point, like my Instagram. But that is only because I open Instagram when my brother sends me things like this.
Homie, you were gonna jump the pole? But no, the pole said not today.
One of the biggest contributions to 2000's internet coolness was human-led curation. And the first human curator to consider is yourself. Actually spend an evening purging your YouTube subscriptions. Only access the subscriptions page when you browse YouTube, and use extensions or third-party apps to further block out the noise. This is just one example for one approach. Unplugging from any algorithm will be FOMO-inducing, as well as tedious if you intend to still be among the algorithm, but it is possible. As long as it's not Twitter, just stop using Twitter. The third and final goal is to embrace decentralized communities. The next human curator to consider is your fellow human. And even if that fellow human is an anonymous username, they should not be a stranger. Stop relying on random forums to find things you like. The dead internet theory is proving itself to be a reality. It's not just Russia flooding the internet with bots. It's your good old homegrown American commercial overlords too. We've become so reliant on robots for discovery that we're not actually asking our friends what they're into. And what they have to offer may surprise you, for better or worse. I'm not going to pretend that these 3 goals are easy, or that they're even possible for most. Just remember that you are actively being conditioned away from these goals, and it will only get more difficult the older and crustier you get. We're nearing the end with many questions unanswered. This topic is massive, and one video could not possibly cover everything in a meaningful way. If you care about the internet and want to make it better, I invite you to stick around for more diatribes about the creative condition and why I have it so hard. There are 2 channels at play now. Boketo Media will focus on everything creator-related, and it has always been my goal from the start to help creators in a way that I would have liked when I was starting out. If you are a creator who could use more help, or a freelancer looking for remote work, or just a fan looking to get involved, I implore you to click the link I have provided. As for this channel, it is for posting garbage takes and banned beef. I leave you guys alone for 5 minutes, and you appear to have created a haven for trend junkies, bullies, and verifiable posers. Reviews for metal music cream so hard on the breakdown that it violates YouTube's terms of service. Linkin Park replaced their late beloved vocalist with Tom Cruise. Industry tough guys are now so obsessed with trans people that it's actually kinda gay. And Tim Lambesis, what did you do this time? I'll do more videos like this one on occasion, but otherwise, anything goes. If you have any video requests for my hot dad era, you know where to make them. The opening chapter of my career in media caught me off guard. I played an awkward game of catch-up for many years, making everything up as I went. But now I willfully return. My company is built. My powers have doubled since the last time we met. It will be the perfect synchronization of both my academic background in STEM and my ability to write songs about adult men who write songs for 14-year-old girls. Anyway, I have new Crazy 88 dropping today. Here's a sample. I'll be responding to every question in the comments for 1 year. This channel currently has no subscribers, and it is unlikely that this video will do anything. But if it does do something, it will prove that I wasn't just a lucky YouTuber in 2013, but that I am a brilliant Renaissance man and the voice of a generation.